and for coming along to the first meeting of this council year for community services. So item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence. We've just had Councillor Wendy Bater's apologies. Have we had anybody else's? It's just Rob that we're missing around the table tonight. Peter, have you had anything from Rob at all?
Not yet.
No. Okay. Any declarations of interest? I'm going to declare, like I do every year when we get the Peter Newton Pavilion report, just so as it's named after my dad, I always declare it. Not that I really need to, but I do. If there's anything else as we go through the evening, just let me know. Okay, and if you do want to speak, obviously if you raise your hand, I'll make a note in order like we do all the time and come back to you. So item 3 then is to agree the minutes of the meetings held on the 4th of March and the 7th of May 2024 as a true record, previously circulated. Are you happy for me to sign those?
Yes, yes.
Item 4 is Grove Corner and community engagement. And Jim, I understand you're going to take us through that report.
Thank you. I'd like to draw your attention to some key points in the report, and then I'm happy to answer any questions at the end. So under section 1, Grove Corner figures, Grove Corner received 561 visits from young people between the 10th of February 2024 and the 13th of May 2024. This is up from last year from a similar time frame where Grove Corner had received 436 visits. Pokemon sessions have received 269 visits from young people between the 13th of February 2024 and the 14th of May. You will note that Pokemon is slightly quieter than last year. However, this is no bad thing. This is where some of the members have outgrown the club and they're now transitioning into the youth club, or some of them may have siblings and they now want to have their own sessions. So that is kind of, we've had that feedback as to why it's been slightly quieter. And where some of them have outgrown Pokemon, we anticipate in the new academic year, we'll see an influx of new young people attend. Section 2, youth engagement. Officers have seen a positive response to changing Friday evening sessions to 10 to 13-year-olds and 14 to 18-year-olds. Officers have seen young people engage well with the sessions, and those aged 13 to 15 have expressed to officers they're grateful to have a session that they can now attend on a Friday evening. 2.2. Officers had planned to facilitate a Pokemon tournament during May half term, and as noted, a verbal report is going to be provided this evening. Due to lack of interest, this didn't happen, so the team are now exploring possible partnerships, and we're aware that the library run a Pokemon club, so we're exploring whether or not that's something we could do in partnership. So we're going to explore how that could look. And then under section 3, detached youth work, so 3.1. Between the 11th of February 2024 and the 14th of May 2024, officers delivered 29 detached sessions and engagement sessions across Dunstable. You'll see in the report the various locations and areas this has covered. Since the 1st of April 2024, officers have been delivering 9 hours per week detached youth work in Dunstable East. And again, the report outlines the various areas that have been visited in Dunstable East. In total, officers have engaged with 946 young people by head count. 253 of these young people have been in Dunstable East, and this has been since April 2024. And the remaining 693 have been in the rest of the town. The report then outlines various different locations that officers are planning to visit in the upcoming weeks. Section 3.4. Officers continue to deliver monthly weekend sessions as part of the detached youth work provision. Officers have visited Priory Gardens, Bennett Memorial Recreation Ground, and have run activities at Kingsbury Recreation Ground and Grove House Gardens. 3.6. Officers are currently in the process of planning and organising a youth summer activities programme. This is the first time that officers have run a summer youth activities programme alongside the summer activities programme for children, and picked a variety of activities to facilitate based on consultation and feedback from the young people. So you may have seen on social media the locations and the activities that we're going to be running, but just in case you haven't, On Friday, the 19th of July, we're going to run a schools out party at Bennett's Rec from 6:30 till 8:30. And then on the 24th of July, we're going to run a sport spectacular event at Kingsbury Recreation Ground between 4 and 7. On the 1st of August, we're going to run an obstacle course and a human table football at 3 till 6 p.m. at Bennett's Rec. And then on the 5th of August, between 4 and 7, we're going to run an inflatable day at Grove House Gardens. On the 15th of August, between 3 and 6, we're going to do outdoor games and have a climbing wall in Priory House Gardens. On the 19th of August, between 3 and 5, we're going to have a sports event at Downside Recreation Grounds. On the 24th of August, between 12 and 4, we're going to have a skate jam at the skate park. And on the 29th of August, between 3 and 6, again at Bennett's, we're going to have a chill and thrill session, which is Pilates, a silent disco, chill zone, and football. Those areas have been chosen carefully based on consultation of where young people are spending their time and where the team have gone out and put their energies. And they are the locations that we have kind of had young people say that's where they hang out and that's where they'll be spending their time over the holidays. So that's why those specific locations have been picked for the summer activity events. Section 4, school engagement. Officers attended Central Bedfordshire College's Wellbeing Fair, and officers took the phone charging pedal bike and a reaction game, which the students really enjoyed. Officers have continued conversations with those who attend the college about attending Grove Corner, and many continue to feedback that either they don't live in Dunstable, so they're not in the town when the sessions are running, they work, or they don't want to attend due to other commitments. Section 5, community engagement. Officers have planned the summer activities programme for those aged 3 to 10 years. The team have advertised the programme and details of the children's summer activity programmes can be found in the report. Section 5.4, the Senior Neighbourhood Development Officer is currently working with the Parks and Open Spaces Officer to put a defibrillator in the old red phone box opposite Priory Church on Church Street. Officers continue to promote Really Fantastic, and so far 25 different groups have signed up to take part. And officers visited Dunstable Food Bank based in the old Argos building to meet the team of volunteers and to hear more about the work the charity does and support it's given to local residents. And the team found that really beneficial to go along to the food bank and to be given a tour of actually everything they're doing and to really hear from the volunteers the amazing work that they're doing. And sadly, actually quite a shock of how many people are needing to use the food bank as well. So for my team, that was a really beneficial thing to be able to go along to. Section 6, 6.1, as part of the co-design approach to detached youth work has taken with young people, there's been a request and an expressed interest in a youth festival. So officers have been exploring how one could be delivered. With no budget to deliver this scale of event, officers have identified some external funding called the UK SPF Pilot and Test, which is designed to trial new cultural and art-based projects and ideas. An event based on youth culture with workshops, performances and engagement opportunities would meet the fund's requirement closely. The head of community services and the events officer have submitted an application for £7,500 to deliver a one-off event in Grove House Gardens during the summer holidays. The town council would provide staff and £1,000 much funding already in the youth activities budget in order to deliver the event successfully. The application was submitted in May and a decision will be made in mid-July. This does provide a small planning window should the application be successful, and members are requested to accept the funding should the application be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Wow. What events and that detached youth work that's going on across our town, and every part of our town has seen a visible presence at some stage in the last 3 or 4 months, and it's amazing. And just 3.4, Mark, you may have heard it as well, but a couple of Saturdays ago, at about 3:30, 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, the guys were in the park at the Muga doing things with the youngsters in there. The noise that was coming from there, I was sat in my garden and all I could hear was laughter coming from the park and cheers, and it was a real bubble of activity. Really, really good to see and hear. Any questions, points, Louise?
Thank you, Chair. Oh my God, just to echo really what Liz just said. Jill, there's so much in that report. I live in the centre of town, very close to Grove gardens, the leisure centre, the skate park. And I can see, and I don't know if it's a direct result of the work that your team are doing, but I can see that there's a real change in the activity around the local area. There aren't so many youngsters that are bored and, you know, sort of behaving antisocially. I can see there's a difference, and I can only imagine it's the work that you guys are doing. And just seeing that, you know, out of the 900 odd people that you reached in 3.2, that 253 of those are in Dunstable East just since April 2024. That's a huge amount, and that will make a massive difference to so many. So yeah, thank you for your efforts. Like, we can all see that it's having an effect locally. So thank you.
Nick?
Just to say again, when the outreach go to Downside, if they can sort of let me know, see if I'm free, I'd like to go along as well.
Thanks for your report. You listed lots of dates of activities, but they're not in your report. So will that be in Talk of the Town or something?
Yeah, so the reason it wasn't in the report is that we were in the middle of planning it when the report was written, and that's because our senior detached youth worker didn't start until the 1st of May. So I've then been working with her to prepare those activities. So it is going in Talk of the Town. It's gone live on social media as well. It's going to be going on the website. So it's going to be going, and I noted on social media, I think it's been shared about 30 times already in just the space of a few days.
Just like congratulating on doubling the number of events during the summer holidays. Good work.
Just a question. Do you share the events with the schools within the
Yeah, so we've got really good relationships with the schools. So our summer activities program for both children and for young people have probably been sent to about 50 partners. A lot of the schools have come back saying they'll be putting it in their newsletter, they'll be putting it on their website, and it'll also be going out in the locality bulletin.
Please.
Sorry, just one more point on point 6. Just so proactive, you know, to identify the pilot and test funding and to apply for it, and, you know, hopefully it is successful. But the fact that it's been applied for and there's a really small planning window, but that you guys have gone for it, it's just awesome. It's really good. It's really good to see.
Any other comments? So we do need to look at the purpose of the report, and that was the information and to agree to accept the UK SPF pilot and test funding should the application be successful for a youth festival. Are we all in agreement that we would accept the 7,500 if we were offered it?
Yeah.
Unanimous, thank you. Thank you very much, Jill. Move to item 5, which Jill, you're going to take us through again.
Yeah, you've got my voice a lot. Lovely. So the next report is for members to approve the recruitment for a youth worker apprentice. So I'm just going to again take you through a few parts of this report. So point 1.1, it is recommended that members approve recruiting to the position of a youth worker apprentice. Section 2, the background. Dunstable Town Council is keen to invest in apprenticeships, with an apprentice position already in the council's budget for community services and grounds. Officers have been seeking an appropriate apprenticeship for community services, which will consist of a youth work degree provider offering a level 5 JNC youth work apprenticeship. Dunstable Town Council would need to permanently employ somebody for 30 hours per week to work as a youth work apprentice. There is no requirement once they finish their degree, which will take around 3 years, for them to remain in employment with Dunstable Town Council. Nor does the council have to ensure there is a job at the end of the apprenticeship. The individual will need to work with young people aged 11 to 19 or up to 25 with special educational needs or disability. An additional 6 hours of learning would be required by the individual. However, this would not be in their contracted hours. The National Youth Agency have a partnership with NatWest, whereby the cost of the apprenticeship degree course would be fully funded. The individual would complete their 3-year degree with no debt, and there would be no cost to the council for the degree course. In addition, 160 hours of alternative provision or placement will also be required to be undertaken by the individual outside of the contracted hours for the apprenticeship. 2.9, the minimum age for someone to undertake the apprenticeship is 16, and there is no upper age limit. This would be the first ever apprenticeship that the council has recruited to and would show the wider community the town council's commitment to investing in services and our community. Section 3, the main considerations. Members are asked to consider approving the recruitment of a youth worker apprentice. Officers have no concerns regarding the enrolment process for the degree, having met with the provider. 3.2, it is known that there is a lack of level 5 and 6 qualified youth workers, and this would be a way to potentially grow our own and address the risk that the council currently has with just one youth worker in the team qualified to this level. Should members agree to the position, Dunstable Town Council would need to sign up to the Digital Apprentice Service account and commence recruitment immediately, with the successful candidate to be in post by August. The post would be subject to an enhanced DBS check and a full application and interview safer recruitment process. Officers recommend that the position be paid at the National Living Wage Foundation living wage, which is currently £12 per hour. This is the same rate that the sessional youth and community workers are on. And whilst more than the current apprenticeship minimum wage, it is felt that given there is a minimum of a 3-year post, a degree, and also 30 hours with the 6 hours learning not been part of the contracted hours, that this would hopefully attract a good level of interest. Financial implications. The council has budgeted £13,670 for the youth work apprentice, based on the previous minimum wage for apprenticeships, which at the time was £5.28 and a 37 per hour week post. Should members agree to pay the position at the National Living Wage Foundation living wage, members are required to approve a further £4,769 in this financial year, which in the first instance would be found from the in-year savings. Going forward into 25-26, members would need to increase the salary budget accordingly, but it should be noted there'd be no other financial implications or training costs associated with this post. Section 7.2, the appointment to the position of youth worker apprentice delivers on the council's corporate plan to continue to improve services targeted to all community sectors in the town, through growing a team and developing skills with a workforce which have been difficult to recruit to. There will be some draw on human resources should the council agree to recruit the position of youth worker apprentice. This will largely fall on the youth and community manager, who will directly line manage and supervise this position as a recruitment of the apprenticeship. As a holder of a JNC level 5 qualification, they're well placed to undertake this and feel that they have capacity to do so. While initially intensive support would be required, this is expected to reduce in years 2 and 3. So finally, section 9.1, members are requested to seriously consider this opportunity and agree that not just the recruit to the position, but the pay as well. Section 3 of the report provides the officer recommendation based on discussions officers have had with Premier Pathways, which is the provider.
It provides a great opportunity for us to make sure that we look for the future as well within the town council. I know we've struggled, haven't we, into work. This might, be an opening for future as well. Succession planning. We often consider. Wow. Any questions at all, Matt?
I think this is a great opportunity. So I completely agree with it. The only question I had, what does JNC stand for?
Yeah, so it's a Joint National Committee. I think I've said that correctly. But what it is, JNC is basically the youth worker status, like it's the professional recognised youth worker status for the profession.
I suppose the question is on the financial side, is finding the extra later years funding. Have we got any ideas for that at the moment? We seem not at the moment, other than increasing the precepts. But
so obviously the basic amount is in the annual revenue budget, so that would be in the budget every year going forward. So there would be a £4,000 gap, which we'd have to find in the budget setting process for years going forwards. Although it may be more because it depends on
increase
what how JNC comes out.
Thank you. Any other comments, thoughts before we go to the recommend? Greg?
I just want to say I'm really supportive. I think it's a really good idea. I'm really pleased with we're proposing to pay at the Real Living Wage Foundation's level. I think that's really appropriate, especially considering it's a 3-year position. So yeah, I'm really on board. Well done.
It's a big commitment for them as an individual as well, but the fact we don't have to pay any of the educational costs is a benefit to us, and they go away without any student debt as well, which, for somebody that's a real promise, isn't it, from somebody? So hopefully we'll get quite a bit of interest when we get out. Any other comments, questions? Okay, so we'll go to the recommendation for members to approve the recruitment for a youth worker apprentice as laid out in the report. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, so older people services, Jill.
It's the last one from me. So again, this report is just for information. So section 1, Good Companions Club. The Good Companions Club currently has 19 members. Sadly, some of the members have had to stop coming due to ill health, and really sadly, a member has also recently passed away. We do have 24 places, so now there is 5 places available. Officers have promoted Good Companions Club in Grove Health Hub, doctor surgeries, the team's mailing list and social media. We're also going to be putting an advert in the next edition of Talk of the Town, and we've asked if Good Neighbours, BRCC, Priory House and the cemetery could also advertise the club, as well as putting a poster in the toilets in Ashton Square. But I think, like I've said in previous meetings, it's really important to note with this particular group, although it's an over 75s, a lot of our members are in their 80s and 90s. I just think it's important just to note that. So numbers will dip up and down. Section 2, Creasy Park Community Football Centre Lunch Club. So Creasy Park Community Football Centre Lunch Club for the over 55s currently has 34 members with an average of 28 attending. There is a waiting list of 9 people. Officers continue to keep in touch with those in the waiting list, and we invite them to other events for the older community. 2.3, officers are currently in discussions with Central Bedfordshire College to see if they're able to take the Creasy Park Lunch Club to the college one Wednesday on a trip, where the college catering students would provide a meal. Section 3, coffee mornings. Officers have facilitated 2 coffee mornings. On Tuesday, the 9th of April, 16 people attended the coffee morning at Grove Corner. And on Tuesday, the 14th of May, 25 people attended the coffee morning at Dunstable Cemetery. The coffee mornings began to see a lot of new members of the community attend, and officers have received verbal feedback. This is because they've seen it in Talk of the Town or have heard about it through word of mouth. You'll see in the report that the next few locations of the coffee mornings are listed. If members do ever want to come along to a coffee morning, you're welcome. If you just send me an email to let me know, that would be great. Section 4, rock and roll. Officers visited Peter Newton and are going to trial running the next rock and roll there in the autumn. This venue would allow for more spaces to be offered due to it being a bigger venue. However, because we've not tried it at Peter Newton before, if for any reason it didn't work for that particular event, officers will resume future rocks and rolls at Creasy Community Centre. And then finally, big lunch. Officers have been working on plans for the big lunch, which takes place next Tuesday, the 11th of June. The council's allocated all 150 tickets, which were allocated on a first come, first served basis. There's currently 6 people on the waiting list, and at least 50 of those that are coming this year have never been before. Thank you.
Great to hear that we've managed to get more people and we've still filled it and we've still got waiting lists. Unbelievable, isn't it, for next week? So the reason we've gone for the Rock and Roll to Peter Newton Pavilion to look at it is because of the size. It's not because Creasy Park said we can't do it there.
No, so it's looking at, yeah, and that's why I wanted to make it clear we have got, should we need to go back to Creasy Park, we will. But as a team, we just went to visit Peter Newton and we just thought it might lend itself nicely to be able to, again, offer some more spaces for people to be able to attend.
And then for me, 1.1, the Good Companions Club, you might want to liaise with Dial-A-Ride, because I know they take people to the club.
Yeah.
Actually, in their buses, they have room to put posters in. So when they're travelling about, especially now they've got the public service bus routes as well, you never know where else it will reach.
Good idea.
Anybody else got any points? Louise?
Thank you, Chair. So I came to go bowling today and you had the Good Companions Club there. I met a few people that I'd met before. It was really nice to see them bowling. I think I was talking to Laurie, who I met last time. They really seem to enjoy it. And I just want to say that I just think it's great that not only do we focus on young people, that we also focus on older people. And everybody I spoke to today was 90 plus, which was really impressive. They're all bowling. It was very, very good. Yeah, I can't remember what else I wanted to say. I think I did have a question, but I've forgotten. But yeah, just really nice. And I can see that you all love doing it and they all love being with you. So thank you.
Nick?
Just a reminder, what the is there any special requirements to join the Good Companions Club?
Yeah, so for good companions, they need to be over 75 and they need to be socially isolated and a resident of Dunstable.
Them by themselves, basically.
Yeah.
Please.
Sorry, yeah, my question was, I saw that you are taking the Good Companions Club, you're going to take them to Southend in September. That sounds like a massive outing. Is that difficult to coordinate? Do you need volunteers perhaps to help with that?
Yeah, so it's at the moment it's in the early stages of planning. So it's something we are hoping to do. But logistically, we're just looking into the finer details of that. So at this stage, it's kind of a hope that we're going to do it. Should there be that we're not able to, it might be that we look to bring the seaside to the older people. So we're going to have some further discussions with that group. So it's something that they kind of have expressed as an interest. We've started to have some planning meetings, but as I'm sure you can all appreciate, for that age group, things can change quite quickly. And so we're just having some further conversations, and that's since this report's actually even been written, some further conversations have been had with the group. So we're just exploring that at the moment. So councillor updates would be a good place to look, where I'll be updating what's happening with that.
Very much.
Thank you.
Are you going to take us through this? Or I know we've got Annette on screen. We have got Annette with us. Hi, Annette.
Hi, can you hear me? Yep, thank you. Good evening. So yes, I'd just like to do some updates on my report. I am going to jump to 1.3, which are the stall bookings. As part of the business plan, we were looking at trying to get 35 stalls for every event market. We did that on the 20th of April, so that was a great 100% start. We had another event market on the 18th of May, and we've also got one on the 8th of June and the 15th. So I've done them in percentage wise. So the 18th of May, we had 24 booked. We did have 28. The weather wasn't looking good that week, so we did have a few cancels. So we made about 68% towards our target on the 18th of May. On the 8th of June, on Saturday, we're about 33 stalls booked, so we're about 88% to our target. So I just need another 1 or 2 and we're nearly there. On the 15th of June, at the moment, we've got 26 booked, so we're about 74% in. So we're really trying to reach that 100% target to get 35 stalls during our event market. So we're going to still continue to work really hard on doing that. I'm going to go to Ashton Square toilets. Unfortunately, the toilets were vandalised on Thursday, and we'd had such a good run with that not happening. The ranger and actually the town centre assistant, it did go down there. We may need to shut the men's toilets one day next week. They've got to go in and reseal some toilets and put some new toilet seats in. So we will get straight onto that, because obviously we are going to be going in for Loo of the Year award, and they do come and do an inspection anytime between July and September. So we want to make sure them toilets are up and running properly. As part of that, back in 2023, we did have a large mirror broken. We didn't replace it at the time, and I still feel that we shouldn't replace it, but I have ordered a large mural that will go in that place, which has got lots of pictures of all the events we've had in the town over the last year. So I'm hoping that will look nice and stay on the wall. So fingers crossed for that one. That should go up in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go to 3.2, which is the street food, which again has been phenomenal this year. We have had big numbers that I've ever seen, and everybody that goes absolutely loves it, always congratulate us, says thank you, thanks for the evening. And just to update you that we still do have street food coming with us for 2 Saturday markets. They're going to join us for Ashton Square Day, and they're going to join us for the 21st of December, which is the last Christmas market. So hopefully that will just still keep improving each year, and we will have them at other points during the year rather than just a Thursday night. So I'm really hoping they go well. Myself and the town centre assistant are still really trying to get in another market or work with another group to try and get that square filled on other Saturdays. It took 2 years to get street food in. I'm hoping it won't take that long, but we're still working on that continuously. We have had some inquiries about people using the square on a Wednesday. I'm going to give that a go this Wednesday. There is a food trader who has been with us a few times, and he's booked a couple of slots on a Wednesday. So we'll see how that flows, and it might be that some other stalls do join him. It won't be a provision that we provide gazebos and things like we do on Middle Road, but if they've got their own stall and they want to book that slot out, then it's something we were certainly looking at. I'm going to drop to 3.4, which is our partnership working. We have been doing our pub watch and our shop watch very regularly, and I've been attending them. There was a large incident in the town back in April, and I did have to do a statement. I've now been called to court to do that one, so that's something that's all part of shop watch as well, and all the team were aware of that. I'm going to go down to 3.7, which is their Young Trader Market at Leighton Buzzard. So I went to Leighton Buzzard on Tuesday the 14th to see how their trader market was working, because they've held them before. This will be our first time of us doing our Young Trader Market in July. Unfortunately, the weather really wasn't very good, and the 5 that they had booked, they only had 1 trader turn up. I'm hoping that won't be the case for us, because we're in July, we've got lovely weather, and I've got 12 booked in. So I spoke to them. They just said, unfortunately, it happens every now and then in Leighton Buzzard, but fingers crossed for us. We've got 12, and hopefully we should have a really good day in July. Town centre vacancy rates, as you can see, they have dropped, which is great news. So we've gone from 14.2 22% down to 12.25, with all the various little categories in between. This week I'm going to do I've just done the blog, actually, it's just gone into the paper, it's going in on Wednesday, a look at some of the new businesses that we have coming into town. So I'm hoping that will help and have some positivity with our vacant numbers coming down. I'm just going to nip to street dressing, which is 0.8. The bespoke bunting has been made and delivered, and it should go up on Thursday. So that should look really nice. That's going down Middle Road. The hats will come down. I'm actually going to gather as many hats as I can and hopefully put a little post on social media. If anybody wants to pick up their hats that they had actually painted, then they can come and pick them up over the next 2 markets. And the new bunting will go in the square as well, and we'll place the flags that are in the square, which have gone a little bit scraggy. So that should hopefully all be done by Thursday afternoon. UKSPF funding, just a little update. I'm still in talks with Quadrant over the shop. We are still backwards and forwards. The shop hasn't been vacated yet, but we're still talking. So as soon as I have any updates, I'll put them on councillor updates. And I'm aware that that the water fountain, the water bottle refills have been ordered. We're just waiting for plumbers and engineers to look at the sites that we've chosen. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Very interesting report, and good to see that the street food market, Street Food Heroes, are coming on some Saturdays as well. I think that will help with our footfall issues in town, and be good if we can get further interest as well. Just one question from me. The food trader that wants to do on a Wednesday, does he have to have his own street trader license, or because he's using our pitch area, he's covered by us?
Yeah, so we're going to book it as we would do in Middle Row, so it'd be the same price, but it would need to be booked in, and the condition of that is that he books in Wednesday per Wednesday, and that he pays that fee, but he would need to provide his own stall. Yeah, so it comes under us. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Peter?
Thank you, Chairman. Talking to the stall holders, I wonder if you've picked up anything from the stall holders about the closure now of Farm Foods, and that from Wilkinson's Farm Foods and former Martin's all closed, and also the charges at the car park going up. I just wondering if you've picked up any comments from the stall holders, whether they've got any concerns now about the situation. And there is one question about units in Grove Park area and Asda. Say there are 6 units, none vacant. The one on the corner of Queensway and sort of Vernon Place, is that included? Because that corner's unit has been empty for a long, long while now.
I'll go back to that. So I've got 4 vacant in the quadrant. Is that what you're?
No, it's units in Grove Park area and Asda. I'm just wondering if that's the funeral services round to what was Mick's fish and chip bar, that row of shops.
That will all be part of the main count, so they're not separated, so that will come under the 31 vacant. At the time when I did this, that one wasn't vacant.
So Grove Park area, just to clarify, that's down near BBC Three Counties Radio, isn't it? It's that stretch of
Them
Really?
6, they're all filled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stretch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't quite understanding. Yeah, that's right. So the 6 vacant at Grove Park are the three big, the 6 big units. Yes. Going back to traders, it's still quite early days because we only had one market, which was the 18th, after the whole area had the shops had shut, and we still had a free parking on that one. So we haven't really got to that point where we've got no free parking and all the units are empty. Although footfall was horrendous on the 18th of May, it was very, very quiet. No footfall at all. I don't see that on the 8th of June, just because we've got Motor Rally. So I don't think that will affect us, because there's an event going on in Priory Gardens and on the square. So I think it will be a destination to go to. But I think stallholders are worried that the area will be very quiet and that there won't be any footfall in the area. But I think it's just a wait and see, really.
Can I come back on one? This is a sort of the big question, and going through the minute books for many years ago, there were many discussions about where the market could be. I'm just wondering if maybe we should be considering where the market is, if in fact those units stay empty. Is this the right time to do it?
Well, I've got gazebos, so we can go anywhere. We've not got fixed stalls. It's not like they're permanently in the ground. If it did get to that point, then I think it potentially is something that we would need to look at. I say they are gazebos, so they can get transported wherever they need to get transported.
Because one thought some not too many years ago was extending into West Street, for example, and with the wider pavements, that would make it more visible.
Maybe it's a future conversation that we need to have when we've given the free parking on a Saturday time to settle and chance to get through. And maybe it's an agenda item for future and a bigger conversation about market as a whole.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments, members? No, just lots of work going on in there for you and for John. So thank you very much for all of your hard work that goes through making all of that happen week after week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Gina and the events update.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and councillors. This report is for information only. Starting with section 1, St George's Day celebrations was a great success with an estimated number of over 1,500 attending across the day. Feedback was incredibly positive via Facebook and SurveyMonkey. Alongside the activities and entertainment, the business stalls, caterers and community groups all traded well and enjoyed the public engagement with the community. Since time of writing, Priory Pictures has actually happened last Saturday on the 25th of May. We were very lucky with the weather, and it was a very good turnout of an estimate of 1,250 people across the day. 2.2 Dunstable Classic Motor Rally. In October 2023, an application was submitted to the RAF requesting a fly past on the day of the motor rally to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day and Dunstable's role during the war. Unfortunately, the application was not successful, as none of the display team are actually flying over the event on the event day itself. Currently 250 vehicles, so it has gone up, 250 vehicles have entered the Classic Motor Rally. An invitation was also extended to owners of military vehicles to join the event alongside the classic vehicles. Similar to last year, the event will also consist of a range of activities alongside live music and performances from the Barnetts and Jazz for Two of Us. Sunday concerts. All bookings and plans are in place for the Sunday concerts this year. Under section 2.3, you can see the groups that have been booked in. This year's schedule also features different genres alongside brass bands on stage. 2.4 Dunstable Live. Dunstable Live is the first of the Summer of Music events in Grove House Gardens. The theme of Dunstable Live was chosen by the public, which is soul and Motown. The lineup can be seen under this section. 2.5 Party in the Park. Plans are progressing well for Party in the Park. The stage has a mix of music and dance performances from local groups and singers. This year, Octave Music were offered a 1-hour community slot to showcase local musicians. Octave's slot will feature a young group called What Killed the Dinosaurs, who are an indie rock band. To date, acts also booked for the event are Stardust Theatre Company, Dance Connections, What Killed the Dinosaurs, Hebrida, Josie Derland, Crazy Dog, and Sean Williamson's Barioki. The full lineup will be announced on social media and the Talk of the Town and the Town Council website once it has been completed. The event will also consist of an outdoor bar, catering, activities throughout the day, including the free kids zone area, business and craft stores, and the fun fair. There will also be the accessible viewing platform, which can be booked via the Town Council website once the lineup has been confirmed. Around the World 2.6. Plans for Around the World event is going well. Activities and bookings confirmed can be seen under section 2.6. Priory Pictures. In April, a poll was set up on Facebook for the public to pick the films that they would like to see at the August event. The poll closed with just over 500 votes received. Officers felt that due to the low numbers of votes and changes and new restrictions in place to licensed films suggested, some of the films could not be licensed, leading to the format of this event requiring changes. For this event, the films that have been chosen will be acknowledging iconic movie stars who are celebrating their milestone birthdays this year. Section 3, Event Marketing. All the events are detailed on the Town Council website, advertised on Facebook and Instagram, and also feature in the Talk of the Town. For each event, there is a wide range of printed marketing material, including leaflets, A3 posters, notice board banners, playground banners. The digital VMS screen is also utilised to promote each event. New for this year, we have commissioned 18,000 summer event leaflets to advertise events from June to August. These will include the Motor Rally, Dunstable Live, Sunday concerts, Party in the Park, Around the World, and Priory Pictures. 16,000 leaflets will be trialled as a leaflet drop, and this is just about to commence from this week. 2,000 of the remaining leaflets will be placed around the town centre. Once produced, posters and leaflets are taken to shop owners who are kindly asked to display them. Unfortunately, many town centre shops are unable to display external marketing due to company policies. Section 5, UK Shared Prosperity Fund Culture. The Town Council has been successful in securing funding from Central Bedfordshire Council through the UK SPF for a community capacity building project within the performing arts sector. Officers will be working in partnership with Next Generation Youth Theatre and BBB Group, who were awarded the tender to cultivate and offer performance opportunities to community groups who will be engaging with the initiative throughout the year within the events programme. And just on a final point, early in the year, councillors expressed interest in helping out at events. There were several events identified, including the Sunday concerts and Party in the Park. Currently, there is a availability for the Sunday concert from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. If any councillors could help man the store, please let me know.
Is that Party in the Park?
Party in the Park, yeah. And once again, Sunday concerts, it would be fantastic to have councillors introduce the groups this year. There are 6 groups and they're all shortly coming up. So please let me know if you can introduce the groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gina. Really good, informative, and looking forward to what will be a massive event this Saturday in town.
Yes,
With the market as well as the truck convoy coming in and our motor rally, which is always a fantastic event in itself. Huge work going on. So well done. Just on the sponsorship side, really good to see that we're getting more local businesses and new local businesses. And I know I emailed you a week or so ago.
Yes,
with another international company that's willing to have a conversation. So yeah, it's really good. If any of you have got connections, then give Gina the details, because the more we can get sponsored, the more we can do, the less impact it has on our financial budgets as well. So well done, Nick.
I haven't got connections, but Signature Flatbreads seem to be an ideal one for the around the world thing, being a global exporter of their foods. I don't know if you've contacted me.
yes, I have. So I did contact them earlier in the year. Unfortunately, it didn't quite go anywhere.
Okay.
I'm happy to re-engage just in case they would fit perfectly.
Second question. On the Sunday concerts, you still looking for tea and coffee concessions? Is that being filled yet?
Yes. So previous concessions have been asked if they can come again this year. So I'm just waiting for replies, but I'm currently in talks with the Dunstable Sea Cadets, as they're very interested in actually helping out at all of the events possible.
Yeah. I can do the 21st of July, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Louise, did you have your hand up?
I did, yes, thank you, Chair. Gosh, there's loads there, and I just admire your energy. I don't know how you do it, to be honest, but it's brilliant. So I'm not going to bore you, but I just had a question about the motor rally. You said that there have been 250 vehicles so far. I can't remember how many there were last year, but that sounds like a lot more.
Yes, so last year we had booked in with about 190.
Wow.
So by the application closing date was the 17th of May. So we were at 180 on the 17th of May. This week we're at 250. So there is that. That's why I do pull the application end date a little bit earlier, just to allow for the last kind of remnant, mainly groups, to come in bulk.
That's a lot of cars to look around and pick free from.
That's a lot of cars to drive through our town and through our gates.
Yes.
When they all arrive at once. Yeah, but it'll be fine. Excellent. Any other points, questions? As always, members, please go along to the events and support. If you can offer to help for a little while, offer to help for a little while. If you can't, just say hello to the officers and just, make yourselves feel.
I'm there with my motorbike, so.
I'm there Saturday as well.
Thank you.
No problem. Excellent. Thank you very much. Right, item 9 is Prime House. Over to Becky, I believe, on this one.
Thank you very much, members. I will do my best to present as well as I can with this report, but it is Lisa's report and she's given her apologies for this evening. So I'm just going to pick out some of the key parts of her report for you this evening. Operationally, those of you that have been to Priory House recently will see that the team are trying to make the most of the gardens in the slightly better weather, with the access now through a hatch to the shop for takeaway teas and coffees, but also for those that wish to sit in the gardens as well. And that's proven popular. It's been well received by customers as well. It certainly shows that Priory House is open, because it does look a bit closed from certain angles, I think it's fair to say. The team traded well for St George's Day, which is positive, and they have certainly been looking at new stock and are finding that, as always, finding new products and produce that is going to bring people in and increase spend as well while they're in the shop, which is positive. They're also looking at other creative workshops that could be delivered in the shop area, and have trialled Blendiful, the tea blending workshop, and hoping to deliver that going forwards. In regards to the refurbishment of Priory House, members, I can't give you all the details and all the answers to all your questions that I'm sure you've all got. What we can say is that we are going to need to request an uplift from the lottery and further funding from Historic England. Quite how much that is going to be, we do not know, but we have been given a deadline to submit by the 22nd of July. Currently, we have approval to spend up to £321,000 of our current lottery grant. We have sought permission to spend more than that, as detailed in section 4.3, with the hope that that would give us enough money to continue works in the building until the end of September, when we hope to have a decision about whether or not the lottery would consider any uplift of grants. The only other thing to note is in 4.5, where we've learned from the lottery that they would not accept us to include funding for the exhibition space in any uplift that we require, and therefore we've got an estimated cost of £180,000 to refurbish the exhibition space that we would need to either apply to them again for funding after we've completed the works, or need to find from other sources. It's just really bringing it to your attention, so we know at this point we will be faced with a situation where Priory House could be open, but we can't deliver what people perhaps would expect from that building. But we are also duty bound under our original lottery grant to deliver an exhibition space and heritage space there. It's also worth noting that we are also having to consider the option of mothballing. We need to ensure that this dangerous structure is made safe, but we have to provide the lottery an alternative in terms of, if they do not fund us with an uplift, the alternative is to mothball and what that actually looks like. So the team are currently working on putting together figures and putting together a programme that would look at how it would work, whether we had funding or not. In section 5, finance, it's really difficult at this stage to have too much discussion around finance, because we're in such a unique situation with just the shop trading, with tea rooms not trading, but with some small trade going through the shop itself. But I'm happy to take any questions on that section. And we're just hoping that with the summer weather ahead of us, we'll be able to utilise the outdoor space and make the most of it where we possibly can. I'm happy to take any questions that members may have in regards to this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Peter?
Thank you. I know this is Priory House, but part of Priory House is now Splash Park Cafe. And I was just wondering if any of the things that have been moved there, whether we've actually making some leeway in stemming the sort of deficit, shall we say, through the Splash Park.
I think it's fair to say that we're not actually, Peter. Priory House trialled working in there, but we're no longer part of the solutions and what's happening now at the Splash Side Cafe. Obviously, we're supporting the team, but it's not directly an income that's coming into Priory House, or officers aren't working directly there from Priory House.
Okay, thank you.
So we took on the new Splash Manager, and the new Splash Manager works to James and sits outside of community services. So that's a separate approach. I think one of the things that we learned where the Priory team were using the cafe over the winter was there is some demand for additional services, and there were some excellent experiences customers had. We did get some increased income through that period. However, the business kept the cost of the staff, if we'd had to pay them, we had to pay those staff anyway because of the situation with Priory House. So actually on the unique event, it made sense to do what we did. But as a matter of normal business, it wouldn't make business sense to take that approach using Priory House staff delivering that kind of service, because you wouldn't have returned your investment on the staff that we had to employ to deliver that service. So we're looking at a different model with the Splash Manager because it's a different way of running the cafe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other points, questions? I know when I went into Priory House this week for a cup of tea, I've spoken to Lisa and the other lady that was on duty, that, they are doing their utmost to, to keep it going. And, people are finding, even now, people didn't realise they were open. They didn't realise they could get their lunch. Didn't realise they could still get a sandwich or, a tea cake or something. So it's really important that we do get that message out that Priory House is still trading. Louise?
I just wanted to talk about 4.1, the refurbishment, and seeing that everything has been opened up now and we know what the works, or we can now tell what the works are going to be and what the cost of those repairs are going to be. So it feels like kind of a little bond there. That's positive, is it? It feels like a positive.
So
I love how you
It's certainly
who's going to answer.
We're certainly in a far more knowledgeable position than we ever have been with Priory House. But I will never say with that building that we 100% fully understand everything and that we know exactly what it's going to cost and what it's going to do, because it is such a unique building. If you talk to any of the experts that we've got on the project team, they've never experienced a building quite like Priory House. And so they themselves are now incredibly nervous in kind of committing to a programme, a cost, etc. So we've just got to know that we are in a good position. We're much further forward than we have been. And by the necessary date in July, we will have a figure that we are confident on to enable us to complete the project as best as we possibly can. But, I can't say that we will ever 100% know what's going on with that building. I think that's fair to say, Paul.
Yeah, no, I think that's well put. You cannot overstate how complicated and high pressure the situation is for the staff involved in it. So the staff working there, they're working out the tea shop where the building is basically shut down around them. They're employed to run a high-end service in the middle of the town, and they are walking around outside all the time to get from the kitchen to the main tea shop. From a staff point of view, the fact that our staff are still working there is quite something, and we're doing everything we can to protect and look after those staff, but that is a concern. And, Becky said that we need to apply for more money. We might well end up spending double what we've already got. We're looking at a lot more money. The lottery have gone outside their normal process to give us the money they've got, and we're asking them to go outside their process again on a timescale which they never normally work to. We're asking people to price up works at a speed that's in a month that would normally take a year. We've got the best possible professional team you could have doing the work, and we've got people working together really well with the inevitable frictions you would get in this situation. But it's just hard to overstate the challenge we're facing, the risk of this. If we didn't have these professionals working on the building, it may well have fallen down by now. The building is held together by so many stanchions and bits of steel and belts around pillars. It would be funny if it wasn't true. We are at a better place than we were because we've got a better understanding. I will relax a lot more when we've got a funding bid in and the funding has been allocated. Becky will not relax until the work's nearing completion.
Thank you. Any other points? No? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move to item 10 then, which is the UK Shared Prosperity Community Funded second round. Michelle, are you going to take us through this? You're on mute, Michelle.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair. Apologies. I will points in the report just to highlight what we're looking at, and then I will just give a few updates since the report was prepared. So as detailed in section 1, the purpose of this report is to agree to apply for and accept a spend of a UK Shared Prosperity Community Grant Fund, should the application be successful, and to agree to fund the necessary 8,000 match funding for the grant from existing budget should the application be successful. As detailed in 2.1, the High Street Heritage Action Zone finished at the end of March, and officers are aware of the need to consider new ways to promote Dunstable's history and heritage as part of the Town Council's commitment to the HAS legacy. The HAS included new survey work of the former priory, comprising geophysical survey and earthwork surveys carried out by Historic England. History of the site from this and the ongoing refurbishment work at Priory House. The Town Council have been having discussions with the community engagement team at Central Bedfordshire Council about a new funding opportunity comprising a second round of UK SPF community funding. Applications can be submitted from the 10th of June until the 19th of July to access funds from the 2004 to 2005 allocation. Individual applications can be submitted for between £3,000 and £40,000, and successful applicants are required to invest a minimum of 20% match funding. As detailed at 2.4, following a discussion with CBC, it is proposed to apply for the £40,000 to facilitate the purchase of a smartphone application using augmented reality to update the interpretation and presentation of the former priory. This would support culture and heritage and would develop green space, the use of priory gardens for recreational benefit by promoting the history of the former priory to a wider audience. And then as detailed at 2.5, there are examples of smartphone applications being used at outdoor sites in Germany with avatar-based storytelling and quizzes. And there are also examples from England with a trail at Hylton Castle and Dean and Cranbourne Chase. While these examples are on a larger scale, they demonstrate the use of smartphone applications and AR in outdoor and heritage settings. This shows the potential for using this technology to create a new and engaging interpretation of the former priory and for presenting Priory House within its wider setting. And then, as detailed at 2.7, if the council applied for a UK SPF grant to allow for the creation of a new smartphone application of the former priory, it would demonstrate a strong commitment to enhancing community engagement to both Historic England and the National Lottery Priory House refurbishment. Since this report was prepared, the Cultural Services Manager and myself have had 2 Teams meetings with 2 contractors based in the UK who provide this technology, and we've also had a ballpark costing in from a 3rd contractor. So we've learnt a bit more about the potential costs since the report was prepared, and all 3 contractors have confirmed that it would be possible to do something with the grant funds that would be available. So, as detailed at 3.1, one of the main considerations, the House has created a wealth of new knowledge about Priory House and the former priory. This is through Historic England survey work carried out in Priory Gardens and the adjoining areas, and through new research about Priory House. There are currently no funds to allow for this new learning to be incorporated into public presentation and community engagement. The UK SPF grant and proposed smartphone application will allow the new learning to be made publicly accessible, and it would demonstrate the Council's commitment to continuity beyond the lifetime of the HAS, community engagement to the funders funding the refurbishment of Priory House. And then, as detailed at 3.2, currently the Town Council have no other means of raising funds for heritage interpretation and community engagement. And as detailed at 3.3, although the full refurbishment details for Priory House, including the timescales, are currently unknown, this is not a reason for not starting to update and enhance the public presentation of the former Priory, and it's hoped that this would start to bring new audiences to Priory Gardens before Priory House is fully reopened to the public. And then moving on to section 4 and the financial considerations. As detailed at 4.1, accepting the funding from UK SPF will have a financial implication in that the council will be required to find match funding. The maximum match funding required would be £8,000, and it's proposed to provide this from within the current budgets. And then 4.2, and this is a key update. It details in the report that initial discussions with the potential providers confirm that there will be no ongoing costs that the council needs to budget for going forward. However, there are options to add to these experiences and have the applications maintained should the council choose to do so in time, but these are not essential. We have since found out that 2 of the providers that we've spoken to would have some charges ongoing. So one of the providers that we've spoken with said there would be no maintenance charge for the first year, but after the first year they would charge £750 per annum. One of the other providers said that there would be an annual charge for hosting and for software updates of £2,000. These additional charges couldn't be taken from the grant fund, but could potentially be sourced from some of the match funding to cover a couple of years of those additional funds. But more positively, the third provider that we've spoken to, in terms of additional costs, there would be no fixed additional cost. In terms of sort of maintenance, what they've advised is that they could sort of provide a charge for sort of ongoing support, but they feel that that would be overkill, and they feel that doing it would be for them to approach us when they become aware that smartphone technology has been updated.
Thank you, Michelle. We're breaking it up here. We can't actually hear you, frozen on our screen.
For something like that, they would charge no more than £500 per time we approach them, and that would obviously be on an ad hoc basis rather than a fixed basis. And also then the other element they've got is that if we want to add new experiences, they've given us a ballpark cost for what it might cost to add further AR experiences, and they've said a ballpark would be a minimum of £6,000 and a maximum £10,000 to £12,000. So they said if we sort of allowed in the region of sort of £6,000 to £8,000, but the cost could be lower if things were packaged up. But obviously that is not a required cost. That's purely if we wanted to extend the app in the fullness of time, because what Lisa Stevens and myself discussed with them was the potential that the app could start focusing on the White Line area of Priory Gardens, and then could be extended to include inside Priory House, and could be extended to include up the high street, to include sort of various aspects of Dunstable's history over time. So that's the sort of more detailed feedback. Wider costs. So some policy sort of implications to highlighted 5.2. Priory Gardens is a green heritage flag site which was first achieved in 2021 and reassessed in 2022, and we had a reassessment meeting last week, which the council will hear further about in the fullness of time. The Priory House Gardens Management Plan 2024 to 2029 noted the council's commitment to developing a range of different community engagement and participation options for the gardens beyond the annual events programme. Also, the better interpretations of the Augustan Priory remains. Therefore, the smartphone application would help the council deliver the Priory Gardens Management Plan and would help develop the Hags legacy. I think that's highlighted the sort of key points and the updates since the report was prepared, but I'm very happy to take any queries.
Thank you, Michelle. We did lose you on a few occasions during your presentation then, the report. We think we've gotten bulk of what you were saying. So members, do you have any questions to Michelle before we go to the recommendation? Nick?
Yeah, can I clarify what the 40,000, sorry, the initial investment covers then? Is it just the Priory Church area and not the Priory House?
So it's obviously with Priory House being closed at the moment, the focus would be the gardens, would be the sort of white line area, but could also sort of include the area of, say, for example, the Physic border. Something we discussed with the company that we met with on Friday was they're envisaging sort of having games and people being able to sort of collect sort of tokens and points, so they could have something that sort of brings out the history of the Physic border, the sort of ailments and the herbs that were treated, so it would sort of include the garden area and focus on that as a starting point, obviously while Priory House predominantly remains closed.
And the other thing, I haven't actually looked at the links on this yet, but the actual app itself, does it sort of use actors or is it just text and voice? What does the actual client say?
So the different providers can take slightly different approaches. The sort of provider who doesn't have a sort of ongoing cost, they could have sort of generated characters. So obviously Henry VIII was one of the sort of characters that we sort of talked about, but could also sort of include Augustinian priors and you know, someone in the kitchen sort of doing cooking. So it is sort of all sort of augmented reality, and if you like, Captain Pugwash type sort of thing, where you've obviously got a character and then they might speak. With the budget that we've got, what the provider has said is that obviously it wouldn't include lip syncing, hence why he described that it would possibly look a little bit like Captain Pugwash. But what they have said is that with the budget, we could have sort of 4 to 6 what they refer to as sort of major AR experiences, and then another sort of 10, approximately sort of 10 what they call sort of more minor AR experiences, and they see that being a combination of characters, some sort of visualizations of the building, and sort of games as well sort of included.
Any other points, questions? So if we go to the recommendation then, to agree to apply for and accept the UK SPF community grant should the application be successful, and to agree to the required match funding of up to £8,000. Members, are you happy to approve that recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay. And before we end this item then, that's carried. Before we end this item, Michelle, this is your last community services meeting where you'll be reporting to the council before you leave us, I believe, at the end of July. I just wanted to say a personal thank you, and I'm sure other members will join me in thanking you for all of your hard work over the years that you've worked with us here at the council on the HASAS project and everything you've done. You've been truly amazing in what has been a very difficult time, in challenging time, in getting, you know, those businesses to sign up to help and support and to really build the HASAS scheme. So a big well done and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we now move to item 11, which is the Peter Newton Pavilion update report. It is as it is in the report. I don't think anybody's going to take us through it unless, Paul, you want to mention anything. Or Becky, if you've got anything.
All I was going to say, members, is tabling the report. I'm happy to take any questions. I think the report very clearly lays out what we request every year from Beds FA, which is to confirm that the building is being well managed, and that there aren't any surplus profits that we should be clawing back from Bedfordshire FA. But I say I'm happy to take any questions, but officers are happy with the management.
Paul, did you want to come in?
If I just make a couple of comments, I mean, this is the normal report you get. One comment would be to say that the they don't have to provide us with any money unless they reach the £25,000 profit. But actually, that 25,000 figure was on the date the lease was signed, but it is index linked. So my calculation earlier in the week, last week, was it's actually £42,000 now. So realistically, they're not going to do that. However, and obviously, Beds FA have taken on Creasy Park, and that wasn't a decision that we were excited by. But to be fair to them, we had Mayor making it Peter Newton recently. They didn't charge us for that. They were very helpful and supportive. They've been very clear they will not charge us if we do it there again. They're accommodating Rock and Roll moving to Peter Newton and trialing that. So they are trying to work with us very hard, and they're trying to support us in what we're doing. They're keen to be partners going forward. They are working with us in cooperative and helpful fashion. So we look forward to continuing to work with them in that vein.
Thank you. Okay, so we go to reports for outside bodies then. Peter, South Beds Dial-A-Ride.
Yes, I think some new local bus services have been taken over very recently. We've got to, or they've got to put that into their website to make it clear as to what is going on. Otherwise, I think the service is continuing very well, and there isn't a great deal more to add, except they're still waiting, I suppose, on Central Beds to decide what's going to happen with their little piece of land that they are at the moment on. But that may be another year or two away. I don't know.
Thank you. Rob's not here for Dunstable Town Band, but I'm going to encourage him to make contact via the band concerts, 21st July, or whenever the first one is, because they're kicking off the first one. Maybe Rob can come and welcome them and get in there on that opportunity. Richard's not on this committee, many shifts, but he did send an update report to Paul, and I know John, you were copied in. He's not been able to capture any updates from Menning Sheds themselves. Despite asking for an update, he's not had the opportunity to, and they've not been forthcoming in giving him anything. So I think we're going to write to them again and challenge them again to give that information over. John, I don't know if you've got an update, if you're still a member of Menning Sheds.
I'm a trustee. I'm still a trustee. So I've written to the chairman to ask them to explain to Richard what they want him to do or how they want to involve him. I have asked them to provide him with a summary of their trustees meeting. So they should at least be doing that, but obviously they haven't.
Okay. That's the end of the meeting then. The next meeting will be the 2nd of September. Thank you very much, members.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.